Hi, my name is Jean Flores, and I am very happy to help celebrate Asian American Pacific Islander History Month by doing this wonderful camp cooking segment and introducing a different type of food to the outdoors. The reason why I'm passionate about bringing culinary diversity outside, certain foods are seen as unappetizing, and for me, growing up in a Korean American household and an Asian American household, we celebrate our foods. I mean, it's normal to us, so it's not something that, we see as gross or disgusting or smelly. It actually invokes kind of that umami and our saliva response because this is the food that we grew up on. And I wanted to make it my mission to bring whatever food that I ate at home to the outdoors and hope that people will accept it, because I feel like food tells history, and it tells the history of the good, the bad, and the ugly. Even in history, different cultures or different countries would occupy other countries, but at the same time they would bring the influence of their foods, and that's where you get things like lomo saltado, which is kind of like a Chinese and Peruvian fusion. And then you also have hot pot in different forms from the Chinese culture, Japanese, all the different Asian American cultures have their version of hot pot. So I thought this would be the perfect dish to share with you because it is something that's common across the AAPI community and on our tables. So I hope you enjoy. Okay. We've got some bok choy, green onions, carrots, and Napa cabbage. And what's so awesome about steaming it in a steamer basket is that basically all the flavors are going to fall back into this water, and it's going to create a broth. Just give it a good rinse. We're out in nature, so we don't mind if we have a little bit of nature seasoning. Now, the all-important ingredient that you need in hot pot is definitely some water, because that is going to provide the steam, which is going to cook our food. Fire up. Start chopping up some of our vegetables. And yeah, you can just kind of cut it however you want. Just creating a variety of vegetables. Some green onions provide a lot of good flavor. Cut up some carrots. And then you want to kind of slice them diagonally. Carrots add a nice color and sweetness. All right, so we've got some kobacha squash, which just really also brings a lot of depth in color, as well as some hardiness. So here's some oyster mushrooms. There's also what's called a seafood mushroom, and then we need the all-important bean sprouts. So the cool thing about these mushrooms is because they come just right out of a package, they are actually really clean. Just have to trim off the bottoms, and voila! There you've got your mushrooms, and then you have your different variety of mushrooms. Look how pretty that is. What I love about hot pot is It really is like a piece of art. This is what is going to go into our hot pot. So the meat, what you need for hot pots are usually a thinly sliced meat. And so I just got some natural Wagyu beef, and it's a thinly sliced brisket. So that's perfect. And you can absolutely make this a vegetarian dish. It does not have to have meat. Okay, it's ready. Just want to get the water to be simmering, and then you can put your first layer of the steamer. And you don't have to always use a bamboo steamer. Like this right here, this is my camping pot that I take. It's beaten up, but it does the job. And here's a nice compact steamer, so you don't have to use a fancy bamboo steamer. But when you're car camping, you can afford to sort of bring a little bit more weight. And but if you want to go a little bit more lightweight, you can just kind of bring a little steamer basket. There is a certain order that you kind of want to put your vegetables in. So on the bottom layer, you want to put a bed of bean sprouts. That's going to kind of allow you to lay your brisket on top of it. And then you just put on layers of this thinly sliced brisket. So you can possibly use shabu meat, but that's even more thinly sliced, so you kind of want this perfect thickness. The vegetable stock also provides rich flavor for the porridge that we're going to be making as a part 2 to this menu. Let's bring the next layer. Then your second layer will be your vegetables. So basically, you know, there's no rhyme or reason on how you arrange it, but you know, we like to make things pretty. I feel like when you eat out in the outdoors, it doesn't have to look ugly and boring and brown. It can be very colorful, it can be artistic, and sometimes you can use this sort of like you did with the sprouts, kind of as a blanket underneath your vegetables. And we've got our carrots. Look how beautiful and colorful that is. And also you want to make sure that it gets evenly steamed. So something that I like to add is this herb called minari. And if you haven't watched the movie, I highly recommend it. But this is a very specific Korean herb. And you know, you can liken it to cilantro. It has a unique flavor profile. And so it's nice to add some more depth into our stock. My aunt introduced us to minari at a young age, and we didn't quite like it in the beginning, but as we grew older, we soon learned to love the taste of minari. So there's lots of different versions of hot pots. There's Chinese hot pot, there's Korean, which is called Jeongol, there's a Japanese version, and in a sense, these are all sort of a fusion of all of our cultures. And they also have different kinds of dipping sauces. So that's sort of the cool thing about steaming your vegetables. There's actually no seasoning that's on it, and so the seasoning is in your dipping sauce. And it can be as simple as just some soy sauce and rice vinegar, and voila. You can, and then if you want to keep adding layers of different flavors, you can kind of put some brown sugar, kind of sweeten it up a little bit. You can add a little bit of sesame oil, which gives it a nuttiness, and then you have a perfect dipping sauce. Sometimes you can also use peanut sauce, but we're just gonna go simple today because we're thinking about simple prep, and we're just gonna create a nice little soy vinegar sauce. So we let this steam for about 5 to 10 minutes. I think it's ready. Look at that, it is so gorgeous. And steam is really super duper hot, so you definitely want to be careful. You do not want to burn yourself. And look at our bed of sprouts and brisket. It's perfect. Now, I did not talk about my favorite utensil. My favorite utensil in my camp kitchen are my chopsticks. What is lighter or faster than a chopstick? Nothing. Okay, so we're gonna plate this. Chopsticks fit into your camp kitchen so easily because they're so thin and light, but yet they're one of the most useful utensils out there. And this dish is very healthy, so, but yet at the same time is filling. Layer up your vegetables. What's nice is these don't weigh you down. It doesn't make you feel so heavy. It actually makes you feel really good. Perfect. There's no wrong way to eating this, and hot pot normally is throwing everything into the pot of boiling water and then you take it out with your chopsticks. You kind of fish it out and then you dip it in your sauce. But I did it a different way. I did it steamed. So you've got the cabbage, you've got your meat and maybe a mushroom, put some kabocha squash on there. And then you've got the perfect little wrap. And then you go for it. So the cool thing about hot pot is that you are left over with an amazing broth that had the meat and the vegetables all seasoning this water into a very flavorful broth, and you definitely do not want to put that to waste. And so one of my favorite camp items is just these portable rice packets that you can get at an Asian market or even Costco. And the rice is just pretty much already cooked. These are microwavable, but for porridge, all you have to do is stick your rice in the broth that you already have. So perfect. I think I need to go 2 rice on this. Okay. So what I love about these handy pre-cooked rice packets are that they travel really easy. And usually you would use a microwave to heat it up, but as you can tell, boiling water. It's great to make congee or porridge, or in Korean it's called juk.
So in Chinese,
Is it juk too? It's all juk?
pretty much.
Oh, no way.
In Chinese, it's called zhou.
Oh, juk.
Yeah.
As you can see, it's so cool how quickly this rice just starts to sop up all the water, and it It's gonna become a really nice thick juk or porridge. And it's also soaking up all the flavors that we had steamed the vegetables and the meat over. If you could just smell this, it just, I don't know, there's something very comforting about cooked rice. And then we're just gonna take this to the next level. You would add some sesame oil. And then you take an egg. Just throw it right on in there. And you want to just mix it quickly into your rice. Just is amazing. Just makes it rich, delicious. Oh my goodness, you can smell the sesame. Then seaweed also comes in nice packages that are very easy to travel with and perfect for camping. And if you've got a picky child, rice and seaweed is like the perfect nutritious combination for them. And basically you just kind of crunch up the seaweed and you just throw it in there, and this seaweed is salted, so it adds some of that nice salted flavor in there. And it's just this really hearty porridge that kind of fills up your stomach, just like, you know, I think about oatmeal. Right in the morning for a hike, you eat a bowl of oatmeal and you've got your carbs, and then maybe throw in some nuts in there and you've got your protein. Here you've got your rice, and then you've got egg, so you've got your protein and your carbs to just get you fueled for your next adventure. And then just basically salt to taste. Right? So like if you go to like a Korean hot pot place, or like a Korean, there's one called Seoul Garden in LA, downtown LA, that's kind of the OG. And so after you do your hot pot part, then they come over and they throw in some rice and they mix it up really quick for you. And then you eat it. So I'm going to take my bowl